Hello, Queenetus here. I hope you're doing well, dudes. Wherever you are and whatever it is that you're doing, I hope that you're becoming the best version of yourself. You know what really helps? Is to make yourself do something when you absolutely don't feel like it. Wow. That's another level right there. You know, they say that self-discipline is the most purest form of self-love. Imagine that. I mean, just think about it for a second. When you're in a relationship and you go tell your significant other, hey, we're going to do this or we're going to do that, we're going to go there. We're making plans together, right? When people are making plans together, they make sure they show up. But when it comes to us, to showing up for ourselves, we really slack a lot. And it's not because we're terrible people or anything. It's just because we're not really good at taking ourselves seriously. Why don't we take ourselves seriously? Jesus Christ. Because we weren't taught to do so. Because when we're growing up, we kept on hearing that we were bad, that we didn't behave, that we weren't doing the right thing, that we didn't go to school for the right reasons, that we were not making the money that we needed to make, that I don't know, all of the things that you had to go through when you were growing up. You do. I know what I had to go through. We all have different experiences, different battles, different circumstances, but at the end it's all the same. At the end, we all here right now processing all of that trauma. I don't care who you are. There's always something challenging that you encounter while growing up. In whatever the problem that is. It doesn't have to be one thing or the other. It just is. Because it's just part of living. It doesn't mean that bad things happen to bad people, or that bad things happen to unlucky people, or even that they were bad things. Maybe they were just a bit challenging, but you were fine, you were cool. Like, when your parents get divorced, or when you break up with someone that you really love, or when you don't have a dad, or when you don't have a mom, or when you don't have either, or when you have both, but they don't really pay attention to you. Whatever the case may be, whatever you went through, it's valid. Your pain is valid. Your testimony is valid. You're right. No kid deserves to go through that. It's a very sad thing. But it just is. Meaning, we have to dissect our feelings here. We have to dissect our emotions here. We have to really understand what's going on here. Why do we feel as empty as we feel? Why do we feel as hurt as we feel? Why do we feel as victimized as we feel? Well, just look back. everything has its root source. Everything traces back to one starting point. All of us act the way that we act today because of who we were yesterday, because of the things that we had to go through. While we were growing up. Our yesterdays become today. And as long as we don't make that choice to change that programming of feeling like a victim, therefore acting like a victim, so we go through life. And I'm not saying that acting like a victim is a bit victim. That acting like a victim, it's a bad thing, or it's a evil thing to feel, or anything like that. I'm not saying that. All I'm saying is that we need to work on the part that comes after you feel like the victim, which is overcoming that feeling of victimhood. Is that how you say it? Victimhood. We need to get out of that state of victimhood. Not for anybody else. But for our own selves. Otherwise, we're screwed. If we don't get out of that mentality, if we don't learn how to overcome failures, if we don't understand that when we fail, it's just simply another lesson that we gain to be that much wiser. If we don't understand that, then we're screwed. Because we're going to go through life feeling like a victim, feeling like we're losers, that we don't belong, like we're not strong enough to pursue our dreams, to stand our grounds. Whatever your grounds are. Some people have a couple of them. Some people have multi-layers of grounds, of boundaries, of standards. We're not even talking about rules here. We're talking about standards. Standards that we must have with our own selves and with other people, and even with other habits, with other things in general. The problem with acting like a victim is that you take whatever comes your way. The problem that comes with acting like a victim is that you feel excused for acting weak. Acting weak. Key word. Acting, pretending to be weak because we're not. That's the problem. That is the whole point, the whole goal of this conversation right here, right now. We think we are so weak. We feel like we're so scared. But haven't you been in one of those situations when you're put on the spot and something bad happens and your instincts are right on point and you're like, oh wow, like you even surprise yourself, you know what I mean? One time I was driving my dad's car. He was with me. I was, 12. The hood just comes opening wide open right in the middle of a highway, going 70 miles per hour. I'm 12, 13, something like that. And my instincts just went like on killer mode. Like I didn't blink. I just took care of it. But then thinking back at it, when the whole thing had happened and we were fine, I was just like, oh, I was just being lucky. That was just luck. No, it's not luck. The way that you act when you're put on the spot, meaning you're fighting for your own life, you're fighting for your own life, when you're put in those types of situations where it's life or death kind of a thing, and you act right on it with the best of your instincts and abilities, and you get through it and you don't think about it twice, that's how you know how strong you are. But we tend to mistaken that feeling of strength, of trust. Because when something horrible is happening, like imagine being in a car accident, God forbid, if you take care of it and you just don't blink and think about it too much and you just act, that means you're a ninja, dude. That means you're a ninja. So my question to you today is, how many times have you been put in those positions, in those circumstances, and how many times you've did a couple of ninja moves on it, meaning you took care of it and you handled it and you were fine, because in that moment you knew that you was all you had. You was all you had. I mean, no better way to put it. We don't know how strong we are until strength is all we have left. And it's so true. Oh my God, it's so true. Oh my God, it's so true. Like we have to hit rock button bottom to know how strong we really are. Like, because what happens when you hit rock bottom, it's one of two things. You either bend or you break. You snap. Usually people snap. I used to snap a lot. But I used to fight a lot too. Meaning, I used to try always being better, even in my lowest, darkest days. I almost would lose track of what I was doing, but I never did. Even when I was doing really bad, even when I was the most depressed, or the most broken, or the most extreme, excessive, something always in the back of my mind will tell me, let's get back on track, let's get back on track. And there were times that I felt a lot. Meaning I stayed off track for long months at a time. Years at a time at one point. Thankfully it was only like 5 years. At the most. And not 20. It could have been worse. It could have been 40 years. You know? Like those people that realize what's up when they're nearing death or old age. It all happens in the same exact way. We all get scared as we get older. We're like, oh God, this is real. We are getting older. We are gonna die. Oh my god, what a mind trip, dude. It's just a mind trip. That's all I have to say. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen and it's gonna be fine. Because we're going to give our absolute best to this existence of ours and live to the fullest of our potential. It doesn't matter what we do as long as we do good and be remembered. Not remembered for you, but remembered for how you made people feel, for how you touch people's hearts. It doesn't have to be big. I touch people's hearts on a daily, and I'm a nobody. I don't aim to be somebody. I aim to touch people's hearts, and that changes the whole entire scheme of things, changes the whole meaning of the game. It's no longer a measurement of success. It's no longer a measure of pleasing my own ego. Now it's a matter of giving hope to people. People that like me want to experience a little bit more out of life than just the regular stuff that we've been taught our whole lives. There's more to existence than just what we've been doing. Way more. You know that. I know that. That's why we're both here. It doesn't matter if a lot of people don't know that. We know that. We know that. As long as 2 or 3 people share the same idea, the same vision, it's going to be fun. It's going to be an experience. It's going to be an adventure. That's why I love growth so much. Because it's like a very realistic, meaningful video game. Life is just like a video game, and you pass levels, and you pass tests, and you fail, and you get better, and you lose, and it's game over, and then you start again. That's life. And every single time you fail, it's another step towards success, towards becoming that vision that you've always had of yourself. Now you have the courage to go for it, because now you know better. Now you know that no matter what, we all are going to end up in the same place at the same time. Different time zones, but at the same time. Meaning we all are just human. Our time here on earth will end, so we might as well make our existence while we're here, while we're alive, we might as well make our existence meaningful. We might as well use our energy and everything that we have inside of us to spread a little bit more light onto this world. Doesn't take much. Just go to the store, look straight into the cashier's eyes and say thank you. Like, mean it. Mean that thank you. No more robotic behavior of thank you, how are you doing, fine, blah, 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 blah. Let's just actually talk to somebody and imagine that that was us. Like, how would we like to be talked to like, how will we want to be referred as? Hey, I don't know. I just understand that the whole secret to life and to true lasting happiness is to connect, relate, is to live on purpose and have meaning, to have a reason to wake up for every day. What's the point of getting out of bed if you don't have a mission for the day? Going to work to make $400 a week is not a mission for the day. It's just more like emotional slavery, right? So if you're not strong enough and if you're not ninja enough, you're not going to break out of that mindset and you're going to get stuck in it for your whole entire life. So these podcasts right here that I'm doing, this mono podcast that I'm doing, like I tell my roommate, he's like, that's not a podcast. You're supposed to talk to other people. Well, I talk to myself. I don't want to talk to other people. Not here. Not right now. This is just me and you. The whole secret to happiness is to use your gifts to help others. Is to live your life from a place of purpose. By being of service to others. If we're not of service to others, meaning, aka, helping them, connecting them helping us so we can help them, whatever your reason at that very moment is, according to your level of awareness and emotional intelligence is, we all want just one thing, and that is to connect, to belong, to relate, to be one. Whether that is gossiping or intellectually connecting through a book or through music or through a painting or through creating a costume or to working and making money or through going to the gym, going to the movies, hanging out. When you're a teenager, you go to the mall. Whatever that activity is, we need to start looking at happiness for the big picture that it is. We cannot zoom so much in and think of every little area. Imagine happiness is like a big circle. It's a big circle, and that whole circle is just full of matter that makes happiness, that makes up what we call happiness. Imagine that what we're doing right now, it's hyper focusing on each little part of the circle and fighting about it and judging it and competing and laughing and connecting and relating and forgetting and betraying and loving and separating and whatever human experience that we go through, we are still just way too zoomed in into one part of the circle, of this big circle of happiness. And the meaning of the whole entire circle of happiness is not who's wrong and who's right when we argue about the different human experiences that we go through while here on earth. But it's about understanding one thing. And that one thing is that happiness only means to feel like you are acknowledged, validated, like you belong, like you connect, like you relate. If you don't have those, you feel empty. You feel the void on the daily. As simple as that. As simple as that. Till next time.